Hey everyone, Gregory L. Frank here, and today I'm going to dive into what a business broker actually is. I'm going to just explore this topic and also talk to you about how if you use a business broker correctly, they can become one of the most core parts of your team when it comes to building long-term wealth. So let's dive into it. But before I do, make sure you stay around for the entire video, because whether you're looking to buy or sell a digital asset, I'm going to give you a bonus tip at the end of this video that is going to make your life a whole lot easier. All right, let's get into it. So the first part here is what actually is a business broker? What do they do? So the best analogy I can give you for a real estate broker, a business broker, I just kind of gave away the analogy there, is looking at a real estate agent. So if you're looking to buy a house or a commercial property or anything like that, typically you're going to have a real estate agent help you facilitate the deal. That's the way most real estate transactions happen usually. Now, most real estate agents, well, not all of them, but a lot of them, they tend to specialize in one or two specialities within the whole spectrum of real estate. And that's very similar to business brokers. So for example, you might have a real estate agent that only does commercial real estate, or a real estate agent that only does residential real estate. Now with business brokers, you might have a broker that specializes just in gas stations, right? Or a business broker like us at Empire Flippers that specializes only in online businesses. So SaaS, e-commerce, content sites, that's all we do practically. All we do is online businesses, that's our specialty. So that is something to know, that there are many, many different types of business brokers out there. But if you're going to use one for your long-term wealth building, you should know and pick the one that specializes in what you're trying to accomplish. Now, it would be unfair for me to not say this, even though I'm very biased in using a broker, because we are a broker. You do not actually need a business broker to buy or sell a business. Just like you don't need a real estate agent to buy or sell a piece of property, you don't need a broker to help you out either. All that a broker really does is help you facilitate the deal, help you get the deal done faster, and hopefully have a better outcome, because they tend to have their pulse on the industry more so than someone who's just an entrepreneur or someone who's just an investor in the space, because they're dealing with it day in and day out. So that is one of the big reasons why, if you treat your broker nicely, they can become an incredibly valuable source for you when it comes to wealth creation in the space that you chose to go into. So let's dive into deeper on how you can use a business broker. But before we do, make sure you help out my ego and personal self-esteem and self-worth by subscribing. Please hit the subscribe button. I'll make my editor make a beautiful bell here for you to subscribe. So please subscribe. Thank you. I appreciate your willingness to listen to my desperate plea. Let's dive into it. If you are going to choose a business broker, there's a few things to keep in mind when you're doing this. First off, does the business broker actually specialize in what you want to do? If you're looking to buy a gas station in Chicago, Illinois, and you come to Empire Flippers, we are going to be pretty useless to you. Now, if you come to us looking for a SaaS business that's 7 figures, or an FBA business that has tons of profitable SKUs, or even a content business with several different affiliate networks that's making money off of through SEO traffic, all right, now you're talking in the right space. When you're choosing a good broker, this is one of the most important things to keep in mind. Do they specialize in what you want to actually buy or sell? Have they actually sold the type of business that you're looking to buy or sell? And have they sold at that level? Now, it's a bit of a chicken and egg problem with the broker. So for example, a person might come to us and way back in the day, before we ever sold our very first 7-figure business, they might say, oh, you guys only sell small businesses. I have a multiple 7-figure business. Why should I trust you? And that is actually a very fair question to ask. If you are looking at a broker that you want to use that has not sold at the level that you're looking to sell your business at or buy a business at, then it's a bit more of a gamble, but there's some other things you can consider too. If they have sold at that level, then usually you're in good hands because they have systems and processes in place. Now, when we sold our first 7-figure business, it took us about 7 or 8 months to sell that business. It was brand new territory to us. And to be honest, we were still learning what was going on, and that seller took a chance with us to make that happen. But now when we sell a 7-figure business, it's usually within 30 or 45 days, because now we know how to do it. So definitely look for brokers that have already done what you're trying to do. And if they haven't done it yet, have they done something similar? So in our case, our very first seven-figure business was an Amazon FBA business. And up to that point, we were already the market leader when it comes to selling the absolute most FBA businesses in the industry. So while the guy did take a gamble with us selling his seven-figure business with us as our first one, he knew we had a track record of selling FBA businesses, just not the ones as big as what he was selling at yet. So you can still go with a broker that hasn't reached the level that you're at yet. Just know that it might be a little bit longer term play there. But as long as they have other things in there supporting it, you're probably going to be all right. Another thing to consider is the broker's reputation. And this kind of goes hand in hand with what I just said. But reputation is very important, especially if it comes to online business as a broker, because to be honest, there is some shady characters out there and you want to make sure you're in good hands. So you want to look for testimonials, you want to look for case studies, video testimonials as well. All of these things we somehow magically have already, but don't just look on our site. Also look at what other people are saying. Ask people, maybe you see that success story on our website, and you reach out to the person like, hey, tell me about your experience. I'm thinking about using Empire Flippers, or whoever it happens to be. Do a little bit of deep research onto who you want to use and look at what their reputation says, not just on their website, because that's obviously going to be the place where they try their hardest to sell you, but also what their actual customers have been saying in the actual marketplace itself. So that is usually some good stuff to think about. Another thing to consider is, does this broker have a lot of deal flow? Because if a broker has a lot of deal flow, that tells you a few different things, whether you're a buyer or a seller. And that is that a lot of sellers trust that broker, otherwise they wouldn't be listing with the business. So that's a good trust signal that they have a lot of deal flow. And if they have a lot of deal flow as a seller, that makes your life actually easier, because you might think, oh, they have so many businesses, they can't focus on my business specifically. But what really ends up happening is you actually get the most amount of eyeballs on your business, because any kind of prolific investor or acquirer of online businesses, they're going to tend to gravitate towards the marketplace that has the most deal flow, because that is the place they're most likely on, because they're doing all their due diligence on these multiple different deals. So using a broker that has a lot of deal flow tends to mean they also have a lot of buyers. Now, if you're a buyer, I just already mentioned why you would want to use a broker that has a lot of deal flow, because it gives you a lot more options. If you choose a broker that only lists one new business a month, you're probably not going to buy from that broker for a very long time, unless you have very, very loose criteria on what you're looking for in an online business. So those are some things to keep in mind when choosing a broker. And one other thing to keep in mind when choosing a broker is asking yourself, hey, is this a one-person show, a company of one, an army of one? And it's not necessarily bad to choose a broker that is just one person. You could, in fact, end up having a lot more intimate experience and a much better experience than, say, a bigger broker like us that has more systemized processes all laid out. But it can also be a gamble. And the reason why is because one person broker at least, tends to not be able to do all the parts very effectively. They're caught up in the mix of doing a bit of everything. They have to get traffic to their site. They have to negotiate on your behalf. They have to vet your business. They have to help migrate the business. They have to do everything. They have to do all the things, right? Versus using a bigger broker, they tend to have a bigger audience. They have more systems and processes, and they usually have more labor capital than the one-person show to go out and do everything fairly effectively and specialized. So at Empire Flippers, for example, we have an entire department dedicated to marketing. We have an entire department dedicated to vetting, entire department dedicated to migrations. And as far as I know, we're the only big brokerage in the world right now for online businesses that actually has a dedicated migrations team to actually transfer the asset over after you sell or buy a business. So those are some things to consider when it comes to those one-man armies, if you will. And again, there's nothing wrong with them. Just go into it knowing that you might not have as stellar of an experience or as fast as an experience when you choose a one-person show. The other thing to do when you're choosing a broker, and this really comes down to you more so than the broker, is let the broker know what your actual expectations are. We've talked to a lot of people that just tend to have really unrealistic expectations of what is possible. And sometimes they not necessarily lie to the broker, but they kind of flub the truth, if you will, exaggerate a little bit. And it really doesn't serve you to do that, because The broker is in it with you. They want to help you sell that business or help you buy that business to the best of their ability. And if they're a reputable broker like us, they want to have a win-win-win where the seller wins, the buyer wins, and the broker wins because the buyer and seller won. They want that because that leads to repeat business to the broker. And the broker doesn't get paid unless they sell the business typically. So it's in their best interest to make sure you get what you want. But if you come in and you have unrealistic expectations and the broker doesn't realize that that was your expectations, then it might not end up being a win for anyone. Because if you're already on the marketplace and you had these unrealistic expectations, there's not a lot of the broker can do probably to make you back down from that. They didn't have enough time because they didn't know that's what you wanted. The other thing is, if you have realistic expectations, you should still be brutally honest, telling your broker what you actually want. Because if they find out that you want, X, and that sounds realistic, they can tell you, okay, I don't think your business is ready for that yet, but if you do X, Y, and Z, then you come back to me in 3 months, I think we can get you there. Versus if you're just trying to submit and you want a very big price, there's all this work you have to do, and you're like, well, why can't I just get this price? We'll have to tell you, I'm sorry, you're not going to get that price. You'll get this price if you come on the marketplace. So keep in mind that the broker is on your team. When it comes to the world of sports, we are your coach. We're helping you run that extra mile to catch that football, all that good stuff, right? But you have to be honest with us in terms of what you're actually looking for. It's a two-way street there. A lot of people forget that. Well, brokers aren't mind readers. We just happen to know the industry extremely well. So keep all that in mind. So with all that said, a broker, when you choose one correctly, can vastly speed up the process. Whether you're looking to buy a business, we can turn that whole due diligence process for you from taking weeks on your own to sometimes literally taking minutes. For example, if you signed up for a free Empire Flippers account, you get access to all the tools, the feature sets that we have created inside the marketplace to help you do real due diligence that can condense that window of time of looking at a business from hours to literally minutes. You can disqualify dozens of businesses and focus on just the cream of the cream for what you're looking for using a good broker. And likewise, if you're looking to sell a business, the broker can be one of your best friends because they're trying to help you make a life-changing exit. For most sellers, when you go to sell your business, it will be the moment of the absolute most amount of capital you've probably ever had in your life, or pretty close to it. You'll definitely be the most liquid you've been in a long time. We've helped people become millionaires selling their businesses. We've helped people get multiple six figures selling their businesses, all sorts of really, really cool stuff. But again, it comes down to communication. The broker will only be as effective as you allow them to be. You have to communicate with them effectively, share what your expectations are, what your goals are, what you want, and be honest about where your business really is. And if your business is not where it needs to be for you to hit your goals and your expectations, that broker can tell you what to do, like how to get it up to make it so it can meet those expectations. So when you come back to the marketplace, it will be as frictionless as possible when you go to actually sell the business. And the last tip, like I mentioned earlier, just wrapping up this video, make sure the broker you choose actually specializes in what you want to do. If you run an online business, choose a business broker like us that specializes in online business. If you're specializing in gas stations in Chicago, Illinois, don't choose us. We don't have that specialization. So don't choose us on that. Finally, for the bonus tip that I would like to give you is if you're a buyer, if you're looking to build out your portfolio of profitable digital assets, you can go in the description below. There will be a link to schedule what we call a criteria call. We'll help you come up with your criteria as long as you're looking to buy an online business, and we will see what is out there that makes sense for you. It's totally free. People find that call useful even if they don't buy businesses from us because it gives them a better understanding of how the process works. Likewise, if you're a seller of an online business, say e-commerce store, or maybe you have a SaaS, you want to exit a software, something along those lines, you can click the link below for a free exit planning call, where these calls usually last between 20 minutes to 40 minutes, maybe sometimes an hour, depending on complexity, where it's really just the first round of coaching where we help you get to where you want to get when you actually do exit that business. So all of that is in the description below. You can also sign up for a free Empire Flippers account if you want to browse our marketplace and dive a little bit deeper to see what is really out there. Also inside of your marketplace account, we have a bunch of different educational blog posts, PDFs, reports, all sorts of really, really cool stuff that you can check out and educate yourself even further. So if you like this video, Make sure you hit subscribe. The subscribe bell might be here. Depends if my editor wants to make me look cool or not. Go ahead, subscribe, and you will get alerted whenever there is new videos, new educational content just like this. And if you're a fan of this video, go ahead and leave a comment down below. Tell me, are you planning on using a business broker? Why or why not? Are you looking to use a business broker to buy a business or to sell a business? Maybe both. Love to hear from you, and hopefully I get to respond to your comments. Talk to you guys soon, and see you on the next video. Bye.